It's hardly news to say that Social Security is going to go insolvent, right? I mean, we all know that. However, the actual insolvency date is coming up on us pretty fast. So the Social Security Administration reran the numbers after Congress passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act in mid 2025, and they are now projecting the old age and survivors, in the OASI trust fund, to be insolvent by 2032. So as opposed to it was 2033, but the government keeps spending. It's spending a lot and not taxing a lot. So that and we're going to dive way deeper into that in a minute. But insolvent by 2032. That's troubling, right? That is 7 years from 2025 when we're recording this, and something's going to have to give, right? I mean, that's the bottom line.
Oh, and I have to tell you, Brian, I'm very close to that age, and I've seen this since my father was retired. I mean, this is not something new. It's been a threat. And I have to say, though, who can even live on Social Security by itself?
Oh, well, you're not supposed to live on
Right.
Social Security by itself. I mean, even like back in the 30s, when FDR created Social Security, it was always meant to be a supplement to people's retirement pensions and savings and
And
so
I
forth.
think a lot of people don't realize that, and that's sad.
They're going to have a tough time in retirement.
Yeah.
Is the bottom line. I mean, they're going to have a very lean retirement. So let's talk about some of the proposed changes to Social Security, because they're going to have to change something, right? They're not going to let the Social Security Trust Fund go insolvent. So they're going to make changes. The Congress has made, people on both sides of the aisle have made a lot of different proposals. We're going to walk through those proposals pretty quickly. So the most obvious way to fix this problem is just to cut benefits, right? Not a particularly popular option.
You don't see people
Politically,
screaming,
but that
woohoo!
is, uh, yeah, I mean, but that is an option on the table. They can cut benefits, and they probably will in some way, shape, or form. So that is an option on the table. And of course, that's going to piss off millions of workers who paid a bunch of money into the system, and they're not going to see that same money back, right? And I know that I'm not going to get back from Social Security anywhere near the money that I've paid into it, and that sucks. But it is what it is. All right. Another thing that they can do, and they're already doing this, is slowing down the cost of living adjustment increases. The COLA increases that they do every year. So they've already been raising those by a slower rate than actual cost of living and like purchasing power per dollar. So since 2010, and this was published in 2024 by the Senior Citizens League, Social Security benefits have lost 20% of their buying power since 2010. So in the last 15 years, Social Security benefits have lost 20% of their buying power. And we'll put a link to that in the show notes here if you want to check that out. That's something that the Social Security Administration has been quietly doing to try to slow down the insolvency. That will probably continue. That will probably get worse, actually. Like they'll slow down the cost of living adjustments to be significantly less than the inflation rate. So something to keep an eye on. That is a likelihood here. All right. Next thing, raising the full retirement age from 67 to 69.
I might get a lot of slack from this, but I don't see that as unreasonable. I mean, people are living longer, and I don't know.
All right. So in the 30s, in the 1930s, when they created Social Security benefits, the average life expectancy was in the low to mid 60s. I think it was 64, maybe it was 65. So that was how long people were expected to live. Now, obviously, some people lived longer than that. And full retirement age then was 65. So full retirement age was the actual life
Oh, wow.
expectancy age. So yeah, and today it's for women I think it's like 81, and for men I think it's 77, 76. Um, so the average life expectancy has shot up by 15 years or so, but we've only raised the full retirement age by 2 years. So yeah, of course we're having structural problems paying for this, right? And that says nothing of the fact that we have uh, for the relationship or the ratio of working age adults, people who are paying
Right.
into the system, to retirees who are taking
Well,
benefits
we have
from the
all our
system.
baby
That ratio
boomers
has
now
dropped.
hitting.
Yeah, so until just a few years ago, baby boomers were the largest generation in the U.S. Uh, so you have this huge silver tsunami, as they say, of baby boomers retiring and going on benefits, um, with a much narrower workforce, working age adults, just because people are having fewer children, right? And they have been for many, many, many decades. So yeah, raising the full retirement age from 67 to 69, not unreasonable. It's not popular, right? I mean, people are going to buck against it, but I mean, this is demographics, right? Like this is basic demographics. So anyway, that's another option being floated. Means testing recipients. So higher earners and wealthier Americans either not getting benefits or getting reduced benefits. So it becomes even more of sort of a distribution of wealth than it already is. Um, Raising FICA taxes. So Social Security benefits are paid for with FICA taxes. These are payroll taxes. It's a combined 15.3%. Now, in a typical employee-employer relationship, the employee pays half of that, the employer pays half of that. Self-employed people like you and me, Denny, we pay both
Woohoo!
sides of that, which is not fun. Um, but yeah, those FICA taxes fund Social Security benefits and Medicare. So they could raise those, right? That's on the table as well. And then finally, there's a cap on FICA taxes above which you don't pay any more, even if you earn more. And the reason is because there's a cap on benefits, right? So they're going to stop. They stop taxing you at a certain point because they stop giving benefits at a certain point. They could theoretically remove that cap on FICA taxes and say, all right, well, for high earners, we're going to keep taxing you into infinity, but we're still going to cap your benefits at a certain point, or maybe not give you any benefits at
So we're
all,
taking what
if
we
they
ain't
do the
giving.
means testing. Yeah, exactly. So that's another option that's been proposed. So you have a mix of options here, from reducing benefits and raising revenues and taxes, right? And they will probably end up doing a combination of both of them, or a lot of these, right? There's going to be a combination. They're probably going to raise taxes and they're probably going to cut benefits, because that's probably the only way they're going to get the math to work, frankly. So retirees have had it really well for the last 90 years with Social Security benefits, and it's not going to be quite as juicy for, say, my generation when my time
More
comes.
the reason
Um,
why
so
everybody has to have backup.
Well, right. So that's the perfect segue. How do you prepare for this? How do you prepare for these Social Security changes? They call them reforms. How do you prepare for these Social Security reforms, knowing that you're probably going to face higher taxes and lower benefits? So, first things first, I'm not counting really on Social Security benefits. I have no doubt that I will get something from Social Security. Again, it's not going to be anywhere near what I put into it, and I have accepted that, if reluctantly, if unhappily, I have accepted that. I'll get something from it. It's not going to go away. It's not going to be what it was
Right.
or what it has been either. Is how I feel. So I'm just not counting. I'm not factoring it into my projections. For reference, I'm in my mid 40s. I'm 44. So I'm still a couple of decades away from taking Social Security benefits.
And I'm not.
But
I'm only two
yeah,
years away.
oh, there you go. So you will be fine, Denny. You will get these same benefits. I will not.
To be honest with you, I've
So some of this depends
prepared.
on your age. Yeah. Yeah, and exactly, and this is what we want to walk through. How Denny and I are preparing, and how you can and should be preparing too for these Social Security reforms. All right, next item: max out your Roth IRA or Roth 401k accounts, and this protects you from a couple risks. One, it protects you from higher taxes in the future. Which, by the way, every financial planner that I have ever talked to about this has said the exact same, and every CPA they all say taxes will go up in the future because the government's spending too much money. It's spending way more money than it's collecting in taxes, and that's going to break. We're already at a debt to a federal national debt to GDP ratio of what is it, 108%? Is that right?
I
Is it? It's around. I should have that stat on hand here, but it's already very high and getting higher every year. That's a problem. So, what's the government going to do? They're going to raise taxes. It's inevitable. It's math. Um, you know, there and yeah, it's politically more feasible for the government to raise taxes, especially on higher earners, than it is for them to cut spending. So that's what's going to happen. And yeah, again, every CPA, every CFP that I've ever talked to has said the exact same thing. Tax rates today are the lowest that they are likely to be in our lifetimes. So prepay those taxes now in your Roth contributions, and then don't worry about those taxes in the future. Your money, your investments will compound tax free, and then in retirement, pull it
I'm
out
done.
tax
Yeah.
free, right? Both the initial contributions and the returns you've earned on. So that's one thing that Roth accounts protect you from is higher taxes in the future. It also protects you from means testing for those Social Security benefits, because Social Security benefits, they the likely way that they would means test those is with your modified adjusted gross income, and withdrawals from your Roth account don't count towards your modified adjusted
That's
gross
amazing.
income. So that is one more reason why investing in a Roth account can help protect you. It means that if they do implement means testing for Social Security benefits, all that money that you're pulling out from your Roth accounts won't apply towards that calculation that the government's making to try to restrict how much Social Security
Right.
benefits you would get. So, yeah, Roth accounts are your friend. All right, next item on the list: plan to work and earn money longer. You
If you
know,
can.
people are if you can, I mean, and not everybody can. You might have some sort of major health catastrophe where you can't work anymore. But aim to work and keep earning an active income longer than maybe you were originally planning, because you might need it, right? Like you probably have lower Social Security benefits in the future and higher taxes,
And there's
double
something
whammy,
about
right?
mindset. My father was somebody who couldn't retire. He just loved doing something. Even when he sold his business, he had to do something. And it kept
Yeah,
it just kept him going. So, you know,
keeps you engaged. Yeah, it keeps you mentally engaged, physically active, socially active. Absolutely, 100%. So, and even it doesn't have to be. And Denny, you and I talk about this all the time when we talk about retirement and how it used to be, like flipping a light switch where you had your party, retirement party on a Friday afternoon, and you get your watch, right? And then you go home and you never get off the couch, right? Like retirement does not have to be like that. You can do semi-retirement gigs where you're working part-time or doing gig work, or work that is meaningful to you but that doesn't necessarily pay a
even
massive
volunteer
income,
work,
right?
at this.
Yeah, yeah, that's true too. Go pour wine at a winery, right? Like or go tutor kids.
Oh,
My mom
that's
tutors kids. She was in
cool.
education. Yeah, for 50 years, my mom was in education. She retired about a year and a half ago, and now she tutors. And she had been tutoring as a side hustle long, and she keeps doing it now as like a fun, flexible, high pay, at least high hourly rate, uh, retirement gig. Um, yeah, so but plan on earning money later in life, but in a fun way, in a flexible way, something that's meaningful for you. All right, next item: plan on a more aggressive investment portfolio.
Wait, I have to ask you this. That's scary to me when you're getting so much older. So is there an age range that this would stop or?
Yes, there is. So, yeah, and we can get a little bit in the weeds here. I don't want to go too deep in the weeds, but so Bill Benken, who was the financial planner who came up with the 4% rule back in the 90s. All right, so he is very much still around and kicking. He had a great interview that he did, a long form interview with Paula Pant from Afford Anything recently, where he was talking about how you can actually. So first of all, you can withdraw more in retirement than 4% if you do this kind of U-shaped asset allocation right around retirement. So you want to keep most of your money in equities, in stocks and real estate, up until a few years before you retire. And then you want to move a lot of money into cash, bonds, safer investments, right, in your runway for retirement, like right as you're preparing to retire. And the idea is that you want to protect against what's called sequence of returns risk, which is the risk of a market crash right when you retire, because that is actually way worse for your retirement portfolio than the same crash 10, 20 years into your retirement. So when a big market crash happens is actually really relevant to you. And the worst time that a market crash can hit you as a retiree is like the day that you retire. Uh, So you want to protect those first few years of retirement by having more money in cash, more money in bonds, more money in like very safe cash flowing real estate investments, so that if there's a big market crash, you don't have to sell off any stocks. And that's the important thing in that first few years of retirement. And then you get over that hump, right? You get over that high risk period in the very beginning of your retirement, and then you move all your money back into equities and stocks and real estate, right? So that is really the trick. And if you do that, you can have a higher withdrawal rate. He was saying 5% from your stock portfolio, and obviously your real estate portfolio can spit off a lot of income and cash as well without you even having to sell or touch anything. And Denny, you and I, we look at these all day long. In fact, today, literally the day that we're recording this, we have this month's deal discussion in our co-investing club. It's a fund. It's a land investing fund that pays a 16% distribution yield, which is a super high yield, right? Every 100 grand that you invested at 16% distributions would give you $16,000 of income every year, right? It's a very high income, high yield investment. And it's one that we've invested in before. The club invested in this a year ago. We liked it so much, so we're bringing them back to re-vet it again as an investment club and make some new investments in it as an investment club. And that's one example of many. But you want to take a different approach to your investments in a world where you're going to pay higher taxes and you're going to get smaller Social Security benefits.
And then, so talk about diversification then.
Yeah, so you want to reduce. We talked about having more of your money in equities, in stocks, in real estate, but that doesn't mean that they all need to be in like one stock or one property, right? So the way that you can reduce risk is, instead of reducing risk by moving money into bonds or cash, you can reduce risk by diversifying your stock portfolio. In particular, adding more international stocks, both developed countries and emerging markets. You can also diversify across, small cap, mid cap, and large cap companies, every different economic sector. Right?
And that helps because it's the old don't put all your eggs in one basket kind of thing, because if you drop that basket, you're done. So you just spread it out.
Exactly. So, we recorded another episode recently about political risk. One way to protect against political risk is just investing in other countries' investments, right? Stocks, real estate, etc. So that's on the stock side. On the real estate side, again, diversification. This is what you and I are all about every single month in the co-investing club. We're looking at different asset types. So not just multifamily, but industrial real estate, mobile home parks, raw land. All these different types of real estate, We also look at different geographical markets, right? We've invested all over the country. Every region of the U.S. we've invested in. Different states, different cities. We also invest with different operators every month. We bring in a different operator. We bet them together as a club, and so we don't have all our money with one operator. And timeline, investment timeline. That's important too. Not having every investment be 5 years long. Some being 1 or 2 years long. Some being maybe 7 to 10 years long. But diversifying across all these different axes, super important. So that is one way that even if you're keeping your portfolio in stocks and real estate longer than you would have otherwise, you can still protect yourself by diversifying. All right, final point here. Final way to prepare is high yield real estate investments, and we talked about this a minute ago. We touched on the 16% fund that we're investing in again because we like it so much. But just last month we invested in a syndication deal, a multifamily property that will be paying a 9.3% distribution yield over the next year, and it's when it sells in what is it, 2 years from
Yes.
now? It's projected to sell in 2 years from now, and it's projected to pay out a 22.36% annualized return for us, which is great. So we get the high yield over the next 2 years. That 9+% distribution yield that we're collecting in cash flow every quarter, and a big payout at the end from the profits on the sale. So looking at these high yield real estate investments that are just spitting off a lot of cash flow in retirement, and in the meantime, these can help diversify your portfolio and just provide that cash flow cushion where every month or every quarter you're getting that consistent income from these investments, so you don't have to rely on selling off your stock portfolio. So your nest egg continues to grow even as you're collecting income from it. Danny, any final thoughts on any of this before we call this episode
I
complete?
just think that when people are your age right now, this is a good time. People never want to think about this stuff at a younger age, but the truth is it's coming. So why not start preparing so that you can have a life that you want?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess my final thought there would be, you can reach financial independence at any age. I mean, you get to choose when you want to reach financial independence and what that number looks like for you and your spending. So, I mean, I plan to reach financial independence long before I reach Social Security age. That ties back to me not counting on Social Security benefits. So whether you're in your 20s, your 60s, or anywhere in between, or even later than your 60s, these strategies that we've walked through today can help protect you and help you reach financial independence at the age that you want.
That's it.
All right. If you guys got something out of this episode, share it, like it, follow it. Follow the Bucks Outside the Box show. And if you're new to the idea of passive real estate investments, which most people are, we have a free course on it, sparkfunnel.com/free. It's 8 episodes. They're all like 5 to 10 minutes long. They're super short and sweet and quick, punchy. Check it out and stay weird, unconventional
Bye-bye.
investor.